Hello everyone, it's Elton here, Grumpy Git. Coming to you today from a bright sunny Cambridge, which makes a bloody change because for the past 6 or 7 days I haven't seen blue skies at all, which resulted in me moving to an electrical pitch that I can charge up all the batteries. So anyway, in this video I'm going to have a chat about things you need to consider if you're traveling with a pet. In my instance, specifically a dog, I'm traveling with a 11-and-a-half-year-old Staffordshire terrier named Shaka. He has always been a house dog, so he didn't, prior to this, he didn't go camping or go away with me much. When I went away for prolonged periods of time, he would typically have to go into kennels if I couldn't find a friend to look after him. So challenge number one, or consideration number one, if you're going to be traveling with a pet, is it could take them a while to get used to it. Shaka, for example, the first couple of days we went out, when I tested the van a few weeks ago, he didn't do a number one or number two for 2 full days. On the morning of the final day on site, he essentially couldn't keep it anymore, and he did go. Then I went back to the house I was lodging in, and then we went back out again a few weeks later, and pretty much the same thing. He wouldn't do a wee or a poo for the first couple of days, and then again got to the point where he literally couldn't keep it in. He was walking whilst depositing things along the path, almost like Hansel and Gretel leaving cookies behind. So just be aware of that. He didn't eat or drink much either for those first couple of days. He's now at the point where we've been on the road for 20 days now, where he's fine. He's going to the toilet and doing his business as he was in the home environment. So don't panic if your dog or cat or whatever you're traveling with isn't used to being on the road and doing their business on a lead. Then they might have this reluctance in a new environment. But persevere. Don't panic. If it gets more than 3 or 4 days, then perhaps start being concerned and possibly look to go to the vet with your animal and see if they can give any medication to kind of take the edge off a little bit, because it's generally down to stress that your dog is not going to be doing its business. I'm not a vet, so this is all based on my experience of Shaka, but I did panic initially when, especially on day 2 when he wasn't eating or drinking yet. I did start getting concerned, but having gone through this now a couple of times with him, they do settle down and they do get used to the idea of doing their business on a leash. What I would say, and what I've done with him, is that I make a big fuss of it. So when he does both a wee and a poo on a walkabout, then when we get back to the van, he gets a treat. Or if I remember to take treats with me, then he gets them after he's done the business. This just reaffirms to him that it is okay to be doing the business while we're having a walk and he's on the lead. So that's number one to consider. Other things to consider is water consumption. So Shaka probably drinks as much as I do of water in a day. So obviously water, when you're living on the road, can be a bit of a scarce commodity. So bear this in mind when you filling up with water, that you're not just accommodating yourself, you do have another mouth to water, as it were. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Make sure you've got sufficient water on board. I'm carrying 2 5-litre bottles at the moment, and I don't think that's going to, whilst I'm on a campsite, it's fine. I could just walk down and refill them. But if you're going to be off grid and away from a source of water for a prolonged period of time, just make sure you've got sufficient water with you. And then finally, stealth. So if you're researching the van life or prolonged road trip world, you would have come across the term stealth camping. And essentially what that means is that you camp in residential areas, like on a residential street or alongside of a road, etc. And the whole idea of that is that obviously if you're doing that, you want to be as inconspicuous as possible. You don't want to draw attention to yourself or the fact that you're staying in your van. So when you have a pet, that makes that a little bit more tricky, because you have to get out your van and take the animal for a walk. You have to seek out places for it to do its business. It can't just do it outside someone's house. So yeah, if you're planning on stealth camping a lot, just bear that in mind, that it's not simple to do that with a pet, because, you know, typically Shaka, for example, at the moment, he needs to be taken out first thing in the morning. Then he will go maybe another once or twice during the course of the day, and then around 9-10 o'clock at night I take him out for his final outing. So you're looking at 3 or 4 times a day that you're going to need to walk your animal, maybe more. So yeah, that's just be aware of that. If you are planning on stealth camping, that is not going to be as simple with a pet involved. If you've got a cat, I suppose it might be a bit easier. You know, you can just put a litter box in the van and the cat can go and use that. But with a dog, it's not that simple. So yeah, so that's all I can think of right now. You know, obviously carry bags with you to clean up after your animal. I'm going to create another video about that, in which I will rant a little bit, so I'll keep those rants separate videos. But yeah, that's all I can think of at this point. You know, it is still early days, 20 days in, but I just wanted to share with you what I've learned so far with regards to Shaka and having a pet on board. If you have any other things that you've come across, issues you've found with traveling with a pet, please do comment below. You know, it's always helpful for other people, including myself, because I am still new at this. And please, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It's free and it's the easiest way to support me and allow me to create the content and bring content to you from around my travels. All right, people, have a great day. Catch you later. Cheers then.